everyone, welcome back to Happy Hour. My name's Jory and I'm here with my good friend Alex, and we're going to talk about one of my absolute favorite topics in the world, which is the white wines of Spain. Yes.
Spain?
Spain.
Oh, bienvenidos. I also love wines from Spain, red and white. But the whites are a little more under the radar, I feel, around these parts. And I'm really glad that we're going to be talking about them because they are not to be missed.
No, they are not. And when people think of Spain, they think of very big, like dark red wines with a lot of really heavy oak from like Rioja or Priorat or Ribera del Duero. So we're going to focus on the fine whites, which are very unique regions, very unique winemaking traditions, and very unique styles in grapes as well.
I am really excited.
I'm ready to go. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's get right into it.
Can I pour you a glass?
Absolutely.
Albarino?
So first we're going to start with the Pazo de Brujas, which means house of witches. Small house of witches, Alex?
Sure. Little house.
Relatively small house of witches. So this wine is from a region in Spain called Rías Baixas. It is in the northwestern corner of Spain, just above where the Portuguese border is. What is really unique about this area is it's also known as Green Spain. So you think Spain, you think hot, dry, desert, high plateaus, and things like that. This is a very wet region. It's incredibly lush and green, hence the nickname Green Spain. So Albarino is the traditional grape here. It's very well suited to the wet climate because it's got tiny berries and thick skins, so it prevents it from getting fungal diseases, which you can get when it's really wet in the climate. They also have this really unique way of training the grapes up these very tall pergolas. So a pergola is essentially they train the grapevines all the way up and then they have trellises on the top. Oh. These get upwards of 8 to 10 feet, so it's very high in the air.
So you mean the grapes are above you?
They're above your head.
Grapes?
Yeah.
Oh, what's the purpose of that?
What that does is it keeps the air circulating underneath the grapes, so the grapes stay drier, and there's less chance of the grapes rotting.
Ah, because it's so humid in that
It's
area.
so humid in the air. Yes, that's right.
Got it. Excellent.
So Albarino is a super fun grape, and this particular winery is a branch off the Familia Torres winery, which they're a fairly famous brand, I would say. They have 150 years of winemaking tradition behind them, fifth generation. They're based out of Penedès, and they currently make wines in 9 different regions in Spain, including Rías Baixas.
Excellent.
So let's give it a taste.
Most definitely. Cheers.
Cheers. One of my favorites.
Oh, that's a lovely nose.
I get, like right off the bat, a lot of lime and citrus,
Yeah.
peach.
Albarinos are one of my favorite white grapes because, once again, it does fly under the radar, so it's something that you can impress your friends with, not just busting out a bottle of Chardonnay or the Pinot Grigio. You could say, how about some Albarino? And so it's got a little bit of that cachet that goes along with it. But it's just such a beautiful wine, both to drink on its own or and it pairs really nicely with seafoods. In this coastal region of Rías Baixas, they do a lot of seafood, and they also do a lot of little finger foods. Not so much tapas, but little croquettes and pastries and whatnot. And this wine really lends itself to that cuisine.
It's lovely. I like to call this the Pinot Grigio plus. It's got
Pinot Grigio
It's got
plus,
more
I like
body, more flavors, more weight. It's just lovely.
That is a wonderful wine.
Very refreshing. Very high acidity. Not something that you would think of when you think of a hot climate like Spain.
Have you been to Spain,
I
Dawn?
have been to Spain.
Oh, I have
yes.
as well. And that
Yes.
was one of my favorite trips ever. And I remember when we landed in Madrid, right in central Spain, went up to Rioja, and then over to the east coast in Penedès. And everything is desert, either low altitude or very high altitude desert. Then we took a flight, quick jump over to Rías Baixas, and when we landed, Green Spain is the perfect descriptor for it because all of a sudden it was like a rainforest. And that's all that maritime climate, that influence, because they are on the western coast. Western coast on any continent, especially in wine growing regions, you're really going to notice that difference because of the spin of the earth and whatnot. You get a lot of rainfall on those west coasts, and it just really changes the climate here in this region compared to the rest of Spain in a really positive way. I
Oh,
think.
yes, absolutely. That's lovely.
That is lovely. Now I just want some grilled octopus and some oysters.
Yeah, we'll do food next time.
Let's bring a little food next time.
Yeah,
Well, not to be outdone, I also
Ah.
brought a wine, if you will. I'd love to talk about it.
I would love that. This one is very near and dear to my heart.
Well, I knew that you went to Spain, and we were just talking about it. And Dory did inform me that she went to this region of Spain, which is known as the Basque region of Spain. This is north central, and when I say north, I mean all the way north. So this
Basically France.
is basically France, the north coast of Spain, down through the northern mountains of Rioja make up this region. The wine that's famous in this region is Chacolina. So talk about rare or unique or a little off the beaten path. I'm sure most of our guests or viewers haven't heard of a Chacolina before, but we're here to introduce you to this really wonderful summer sipper. Gainza is the property here, Bodega Gainza. They will be celebrating their 100-year anniversary next
Wow.
year.
That's great. We should
And
go.
Let's go. I love a good party, especially with a beautiful Chacolina in my
Oh,
glass.
yes.
The Basque region of Spain is known for this Chacolina, and it is this really light, crisp, high acid, slightly effervescent, and somewhat saline wine. Saline in that salty sense. Why? Because like I mentioned in the geography, if you were standing at this winery, like most of the wineries there, behind you are the mountains of Rioja, and then these soft rolling hills where the vineyards are, and then all of a sudden, 100-foot cliffs right to these white sandy
Directly
beaches.
to the ocean.
And then the Cantabrian Sea. So you get a lot of that coastal influence, and when you get a little bit of the vaporizing of the water from the ocean, that salinity kind of crystallizes on top of the grapes. And once you make the grapes, inherently, you're going to get a little bit of saltiness, which is very mouthwatering, believe it or not.
Very mouthwatering. Very seafood friendly.
Very seafood friendly. And also this region of Spain is known for its pristine surfing. Surfers from all around the world all summer flock here to catch some gnarly waves, to sunbathe on some beautiful beaches, and you know when they're on the beach refueling, they usually have a glass of Chacolina in their hands. So I did mention that it has a little bit of spritz to it. So what we have here is a little aerator, also a slow pourer, which is very traditional for the pouring. And I'd love to demonstrate for the
Great.
first time to Dory how to do this. So with the aerator in there, you do a nice long pour, and they do this with their ciders as well.
They do.
And it just kind of helps bring out that effervescence and lively up that wine, if you will. So watch your shoes, because I'm sure it's going to get on the floor here. Let's see.
You can go higher than that, Alex.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that.
Whoa.
Only a small bit of spill. That's not bad.
But
Not
as
bad.
you can see,
You can
that
see
glass
it
of
right
wine
there.
has tons of bubbles in there, lots of aeration, really, really spritzy on the
thank you,
palate.
Alex.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
Don't mind if I do.
Perfect. Perfect.
Cheers.
Cheers. So the reason I say why this wine is near and dear to my heart, I had a wonderful opportunity to spend a day, just one day, in San Sebastian, which you could spend a month there.
I could spend a lifetime
It's
there, I'm
this
sure.
absolutely stunning city. And in lieu of tapas, they do something called pinchos, which changed my life because it's just all these beautiful little small seafood things, incredibly fresh sardines. And you're walking around eating food while you're standing in these ancient cobblestone streets. It's absolutely stunning.
Oh,
And there's
take me
of
back.
course, there's a gorgeous beach. And then when you're walking down the streets, you see people slow pouring the Chacolina while they're eating their pinchos. It's just a very unique place and a wonderful experience. And the wine pairs with everything. The
This-
sunshine, the fish. It's incredible.
This is the perfect beach wine. Not only is it lower alcohol and really fun to drink, but it's so refreshing, and it has so much essence of that coastal beach quality in it that even though we're not there right now, pretty close, but not there right now, I could still visualize it in my mind as I drink it.
Alex, I really do get that saline note that you were talking about. It's really lovely.
It's a perfect wine for seafood. And just for all of you at home that were thinking that Chacolina, that's a mouthful. Maybe I'll just call it by its the grapes that are used in making this wine. Not off the hook there. Talk about a mouthful. Hondurabi Zuri.
Zuri.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hondurabi Beltsa.
Beltsa.
And a little Gromansing. So I don't know which is easier to pronounce. The
If you can
varietals
get
or the
past
rhyme.
the TX, you're in good shape.
I like that. Just pretend it's a CH.
Yes.
Excellent.
Great. So I'm really excited to try this next wine. This wine is called Portal Blanco. So this is from the Terra Alta region, which is a fairly up-and-coming region in Spain. It is in the Catalonia region. It's just south of Barcelona.
Okay. So we're talking East Coast.
We're
now.
talking East Coast now, yes. So both of these wines were West Coast. Now we're on the East Coast, and it is definitely dry there. So Terra Alta translates as highlands, and it is essentially a high desert plateau. This particular winery is located in a medieval village called Batea, and it's about 1,400 feet in elevation. So this is produced by Cellar Pignol. They have a bunch of different labels, but they're a fourth generation winery, and they own 100 acres in the surrounding regions, including properties in Terra Alta. What is unique about Terra Alta is it is the birthplace of Garnacha Blanca.
Oh, really?
You might know that grape better by its French name, Grenache Blanc,
I do know.
but it was born, if you will, in Terra Alta.
Excellent.
So Terra Alta is the only region in Spain that has a lot of high percentage of Grenache Blanca growing. About 35% of their vineyards are Grenache Blanca.
Wow.
And
okay.
they are growing 75% of their Grenache Blanca produced in Spain.
Just right here.
Just right here.
All right. So
So-
they should be doing a pretty good job with it then.
They should have it down by now. This particular wine, it's mostly Grenache Blanca, but they add a touch of Sauvignon Blanc and Viognier, and that just kind of lifts the aromatics a little bit. But it's a fairly weighty wine, but there's no oak on it, so it would be almost comparable to like an unoaked Chardonnay, I would say.
I love that. It's a nice alternative to an unoaked Chardonnay, and it definitely has beautiful aromatics. I would say mainly coming from those additional grapes, the Sauvignon Blanc and Viognier.
Definitely. Yeah, you get that kind of like orchard fruit and that lemon, kind of like a bright citrus zest.
That's wonderful. I remember I actually did have the pleasure of visiting this exact winery. And when we showed up, we were all really taken aback by the soil structure. There's a lot of limestone here, and it's just south of Priorat, which is known for its red wines, and that's a defunct volcano. So there's a lot of volcanic soil and this limestone. And when we all put this in our mouths, we were just blown away by the structure, the complexity, and how much like white Burgundy it is at a fraction of the price. Yeah.
Very small fraction of white Burgundy. There's this really like lovely minerality on this wine too.
I'm a big fan of this wine. It's a really nice alternative to Chardonnay. Pairs really nicely with your chicken dishes, with your bolder dishes with nice cream sauces and whatnot, or just on its own.
I would say that's great on its own.
Most definitely.
Well, Alex, you got to show a fancy pour.
yeah.
Let me show you how to really pour.
What are you talking about?
This is a Perón. This is a traditional pitcher found in Catalonia, which is where Terra Alta is, so that seems very appropriate. But people in Spain love to have fun ways to pour their wine, so we're going to demonstrate this today.
Great. What do you
Hold
mean by
on.
demonstrate? Uh-oh. I don't have a good feeling about this.
I think that I can pour wine into your mouth from this glass pitcher, so we can demonstrate how we traditionally drink out of a Perón.
All right.
I think we can do it from,
That's high enough.
I think we can go this high.
If you're going to do step number 2, I'm going to come prepared.
Safety first.
All right.
All right. Ready, Alex?
Let's do this.
This is my first take.
Ah.
There we go. And he's done.
Wonderful.
Not bad,
That was
actually.
perfection.
Not bad.
It's nowhere except here, but I love it.
This is a very COVID-safe way of sharing your wine with your friends. No one puts their mouth on the end.
And actually, funny fact, they use a Perón very often with the chacolinas on the beach. So this way you can have a nice communal bottle of wine and you don't have to have multiple glasses. You just have it chilling right in the ice bucket in the Perón and people just take swigs right off without dirtying glasses.
Let's
So
go back to Spain.
I'd say let's go back. 100 years celebration. I'm going to
At
call
Gainsa.
Gainsa when we're done with this.
Perfect.
I love it. Well, thanks so much for joining us on another edition of Happy Hour. I got some more Peroning to do. Dory, get up there.
It's my turn.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Off camera.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.